In this tutorial, we will be learning about an attack called as ARP poisoning. Now, before we move on to ARP poisoning, we need to understand what exactly is ARP. So, ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. It is basically used to resolve IP addresses to MAC addresses. By now, we are familiar with IP addresses and MAC addresses. We have already seen them multiple times. So, IP address is used to locate a device on a network, whereas a MAC address identifies the actual device. Now, what is the actual procedure of ARP? Let's discuss that. Assume there are multiple computers in a network. Let's say there are 4 computers in a network. So each computer has an internal list known as ARP cache. Basically, that ARP cache maps an IP address to a MAC address. So how does the ARP procedure work? How is IP resolved to a MAC address? So computer 1 sends a broadcast message. Now broadcast message means that a message which is sent to each and every device connected in the network. So computer 1 sends a broadcast message saying that hey, who has this IP address? So currently we are focusing on this particular IP address just as an example. So computer 1 sends a message says who has this 1.10 IP address? Give me your MAC address. So let's say this IP address belongs to computer 2. So computer 2 says, hey, it's me, I will give my MAC address. So the computer 2 sends the MAC address to computer 1. Now computer 1 receives the MAC address and it stores it in its ARP cache. Now a list is maintained in computer 1 where IP is mapped to its corresponding MAC address. So there are few important points to note. So the first point is, like I said, the ARP cache is maintained so that the next time this whole procedure need not be repeated. Computer 1 already knows what is the MAC address of this particular IP, so it need not send the broadcast message. It will first look in the ARP cache, as it will see in the list that this particular IP has a MAC address mapped to it, so it will not send a broadcast message. That's why ARP cache is maintained. The second thing is that ARP entries can be dynamic or static. So as suggested by name, dynamic means that they are created automatically when the broadcast message is sent. Static means that the person manually has to enter an IP address to a MAC address. Now this is how an original communication takes place. For example, if I want to search google.com or anything on Google, so the normal procedure is the computer communicates to router and router forwards a request to the internet. Now let's understand what is ARP poisoning procedure. What is ARP poisoning and how does it work? So here comes a thing which is known as MITM, man in the middle attack. The attacker sends lot of ARP responses to the target, which is computer 1, and tells that router's MAC address has changed and this is the particular new MAC address. So that MAC address belongs to the attacker. So now computer 1 is little confused and it thinks, okay, the router's MAC address has changed, so I have to communicate through a new MAC address, which actually belongs to an attacker. So the computer actually sends the packet to the new MAC address thinking that it belongs to router. However, actually that MAC address belongs to the attacker. So the communication looks something like this. Earlier computer 1 was sending the request to router to forward it to internet. However, now attacker comes in between. This is the man in the middle. So computer 1 and router are the two components and attacker acts as the man in the middle. So now every communication will go from computer 1 to attacker to router and then to internet. So basically any communication that computer 1 tries to make to the internet is going through the attacker. So basically attacker is seeing everything that you are requesting. Sometimes what happens is that you are surfing some website which runs on HTTP. So everything goes in clear text, even your username, passwords, everything. So that information can be stolen by attacker. So that particular information is very critical and attacker can steal that. This was all about the understanding and the concept that how ARP works and what exactly is ARP poisoning. Now in the further tutorials, there are a couple of ways by which we can perform this actually. So we'll be seeing that. Thank you for watching this video.